Good evening, fellow people. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is TK, otherwise known as Thabang. And welcome to yet another beautiful episode of Common Ground. Just want to say hi to our small audience for today, and we're appreciative that they are here. Once again, we're shooting at Basement. Guys, we really appreciate each time you tune in and you watch our show called Common Ground. Today's, it's a bit of a twist. I'm standing in for Kabelo Chabalala. He's not in today, so I thought, no, let me take the reins and maybe continue with our beautiful show. Now, for today, I've got two wonderful good brothers of mine. I'm going to start with Ola. I think you guys know him. Sir Greg, maybe just say hi and introduce yourself once more.
Hello, guys. This is Gregory Lediga, your guy here in Atteridgeville. Hola.
Hey, Tada, thank you so much, Greg, for coming through. My second guest panelist, I think he should just introduce himself. Please introduce yourself, my good man.
Hey, hi, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself. My name is Balunga, Bayloo, and thanks for calling me in.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. But it's always a pleasure to make sure that we steer this ship. Now, maybe to our audience who don't know, this is a show and where we talk about everything that is pressing, everything that we know that it's stuff that sometimes we're uncomfortable talking about. Sometimes, particularly, you know. And today's topic is about, have you forgiven your father? Whether una le wena ka tjeku or hana le wena o mo tshwaretse jo time na dilo tsotlhe tse kila o irang tsona or ha di etsa in your life. Did you forgive your father? I'm going to start with can I start with Greg, ne? Greg, let's start with you, my brother, ne? When you think of Papa How, when you think of your father, I want you to tell me the first emotions or the first memories.
Right. So let's do the backdrop against stories of my father.
Sure.
So my father passed on when I was very young.
Sure.
And the man that I called my father, I knew him as my father until a young adult, you know. And so, my father, I'm referencing that man.
All right.
Sure. My biological father.
Sure.
So, TK, a father figure, was a very interesting character, because it looks as if there was a template that these fathers had to follow.
Sure.
So you how as a father is to bring in money
sure.
and disappear. You know, you don't interact with vana.
Sure.
Your role is just to be a provider. So I think having the memories I have of my father, he was there as a father. I knew I knew he will provide.
Sure.
But I do not have the kind of relationship I would really want my son to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Balunga, let's talk about you. Your first memories of your father or the emotions that you uduhupulang tsa papa.
Honestly, I'll just go straight to it. For me, it is abandonment. Because I remember when I was 13 years old, you know, coming of age, you know, someone will come for template or okay, this is what a man's supposed to be.
Sure.
And because he wasn't present and Ian and my mother were not together, so I would go to him to try and find that validation. Okay, you know, I'm your son, and I want you. But he couldn't give me that. And for me, that is memory. When I needed him, he wasn't there. Not necessarily understanding the dynamics between Mama and all of that, you know, not going into that. But the fact that I just wanted a validation from him and I couldn't get it. Not understanding how could he give it to me, which for me I think is another question. But yes, that's the memory when I needed validation, when I needed someone who ran for template or okay, when I needed it and I went to him, I couldn't get it.
Okay. Greg, maybe let me bring it back to you. Relationship that you had with who you call the father.
Yes.
Ne? Is it the one and we expect, or you wished ukaringe Ola, who was your biological father, you had a relationship with him? Would you say, "Oka mona, give me time"? Marne pila pila neginyaka Ola, my biological father, nke alemo. What relationship would have had maybe if he was alive, or there for you?
Yeah. So you can never have enough of good parenting. There comes a time when you feel like you are being treated unfairly.
Sure.
And that's normal. I mean, it happens even in a household where you are all paternally related. You can feel like papa or rata or aradin or one.
Sure.
So when you are in my situation, kajeno blended family, you know. When you are in my situation, then we didn't have a name. Neno papa.
Yeah.
And when I felt to di mana maramo man tritibina ngebe papa ka wa nete
Alimo. Yeah. Yeah.
ngebe wa bona.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Kona bar blood is thicker than water. Yeah.
And I think not that can only merit to say that or to have thought so.
Sure.
But I think the dynamics tsa ka mo malapeng, they are so mo eleng hore nako ngwe when you are being treated unfairly, you feel like nna ke rati ngebe mama wa sinteng maybe ngali teng maybe na don't rat kandi agi hore maybe now you are the same thing. Oh, you don't know. You only thinking because that time of frustrated. You thinking, maybe this man we are because I don't want to. However, I must say, this man played his role.
Sure.
Yeah, he provided me with that father figure. And Kachenegiri Gizi, what a father is. Gizi Gayena. You know, I remember, but he is the father. He is the man that I call my dad.
Okay. Balunga, in what way did his absence or presence, I could say, shape you as a child up until Oba Omokana?
Absence is the word that I would use because I feel like in Kelohor I'm a different person when Kelohor my father was around. Because maybe I can feel like I said earlier on temple.
Think you'd have been better?
I'm hoping. Because as I'm not sure what kind of character he brought into my life. Because now I don't know. About stuff that I've read on books, I've seen in movies, or okay, you know what? With a father, this is how you would have been. You know, there's so many things that even now, I have a 3-year-old. I feel like absent. I feel like an absent father, even though I'm a present father, because of forgiveness.
Okay.
So because I can't forgive him, or it's difficult to forgive him, I'm still in the process, I feel like absence more 3-year-old. Even though I'm happy every day. For like 24 hours, if you look at my for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Chances are 24 hours moyona. Maybe he's 27-year-old or whatever. It will be a different person because of that 24 hours. Because I was a different person because of that 30-something-year-old. Yes, he wasn't there.
Yeah. You know, I know Taba Bafuitu brings a lot of anger, disappointment as well. And I'm sure and you don't wish it upon anyone.
Yeah.
Is there mantswe a leng hore wena o kile go ngara motho mo ngare wa di time ha ka imamo nka mmotsa mantswe a leng hore a ka tlhaba mare equally ile nnete. Do you have such, maybe, Greg?
Yeah, look, I nage sharpo because I think nigel first born mo mamaka ne. And bana ba hetso ba tlile ke sentse ke And I think there are many things wrong that our dad did, you know, and sadly, kanako ela, it was like a template. Holy monna no swanzwida dilo so.
Sure.
And I think it's many men were trapped in that culture or holy outi mosadi mo treata bjana bana ba treata bjana. And there was never that warmth, you know. I know yeah, because so I think one thing that I would say to him is that other people thought you were very gentle, except for us.
Sure. So nalukile ko strategy.
Nale sharp.
For batho ba bang, mara not for mo ka bojana.
Na khona betha me good. And khale he ne ba betha. TK. Ne ba betha. Fathers he ne ba betha. Ka di 80s he nna ne re hola ne ba betha. Ne ba mo raha mosadi ba mo raha ka di kham. Good. And batho ba salamu, wa bona. So those images di sentse di le teng ka motlhong ya ka.
Ke kopelo tshwarana mo.
Yeah.
O mo tshwaretse? And
Yes.
if
Yes.
you fihlile mo.
Yes, I did. And not because of matlhale-tlhale a ka, mara I was very fortunate that I adopted a set of principles and values. And this is where taba ya forgiveness comes into play. You cannot expect someone who does not have any set of values, a believer mo yona, to forgive, because forgiveness does not happen naturally.
Sure.
Forgiveness is something that must be taught.
Sure.
That is why even you and your wife, or there must be a mediator.
Yeah.
Family members somebody must come between Lona, Ali rooted to forgive. You know, so I was very fortunate that I adopted a particular set of values that said to me, if you don't forgive this person, the grudge you jawe.
Yeah, for sure.
And I hated the idea. It's like I'm eating poison expecting somebody to die. You know, so I just let it go. It was not easy.
Sure.
Though.
Sure.
It was not easy, but I had to.
I mean, Balunga, you speak of you being 13 years and the kind of experience you had. And I want to know from you, would you say if you have reached a stage mo eleng gore motlhomongwe o tla re ya ke mo tshwaretse di time o fitlhile and o fitlhile byang hello o fitlhile da?
I can say the question that you asked before, if nka khona ho mmotsa something.
Oh, yeah, let's start there first.
I would actually say I understand. When I was younger growing up, I didn't understand.
Sure.
But now I understand, and I think I told you about this. There's something that I'm starting to understand nowadays. God forgiveness is that because most of the times it's something we grab from somebody.
Yeah.
So it's either for we grab gymming, somebody gave it to you.
Sure.
The first thing that you do is that you go to a doctor.
Sure.
Doctor medication 3 days you don't go looking for the person or no, you don't actually do that. Instead, you just go and look for help, which is what, unfortunately, but now or black people we can't do that, or it's difficult for us to do that.
Sure.
So that's when I realized my father and the chances are somewhere else.
So when you say you understand, is it because of you're not blaming him for anything
anymore? Yeah. Because
okay.
I'm thinking, template values, whatever.
Yeah. I know such a question. Question question so or forgive it that time yes or no. But maybe when I posed it to you, is it the first time about Kopela or forgive Papa how? Balunga?
For me, yeah, it's the first time someone.
Greg?
Well,
is it the first time?
No.
It's not the first time?
Yeah.
So if it's not, how did it make you feel, Komatomo?
Yeah, I still remember Kehanuya, Koyena.
Sure.
And Rakadiaka, actually, my dad's sister.
Yeah.
ne ke rata yena more than my dad, you know, and ile yena a reng ha mo tshwarele papa mo tshwarele we mo itsubya wa bona. So taba ya gore ke mo tshwarele ka le ke utlo mara ne ke sa monyake ne ke tshaba because ne ke mo tshaba ngeke. There was a time when ke mo tshaba. So this is not the first time, but when I decide I adopted these new values in life,
sure,
I still remember the facilitator said to us, write down names of people by Lungore you don't want to forgive. Hey. And that name was right at the top. Yeah. And you were there.
I think I do.
And many of my enemies, many people. So I had a list of people. So Nigel Blind was already grudge.
Sure.
And I realized it's not only him. There was a list of people.
Yeah, no.
So I realized when they said write them down, and how does it help you to hold this grudge? And I realized, we let go. And practically, Harry Potter pampirela latela ka mumulong done.
So Mara uzile da. How would you respond to the same question?
For me, I think that each and every person under that bubble, going back to what I said earlier on. So it's not like people can say forgive someone if everyone doesn't think that anything is wrong.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe have up on a video, maybe now they'll think, but chances are they knew, but everybody didn't get what Balunga is asking for. They didn't get it. So now obviously I can't blame them, I can't hold grudges and all of that because they didn't get it. So no head topi fela rebolela or anything. I can't say mara wena setse go kwatetse for nthe e leng hore na hira maybe ba meditse yona or le bila ba mira yona ha tlhaloganye hore pila is there something wrong or not. So if someone were to say or ask me the same question kana gola maybe ne tlo kwata na gola ke lo munyane ke tlo kwata hore I'll never forgive this person or whatever.
Sure.
But now I'm understanding hore everybody o tshwere ke mokhotlwane, no one knows hore ba tshwere ke mokhotlwane. Then I read no one will ask you how to no one knows. Everybody knows how to we don't even know how COVID came. COVID is we didn't even know how
COVID.
Until now we all knew. Then you are able to say what's again
COVID. Something that Balunga is saying that's very powerful.
Sure.
You see, I think you are on point. Sometimes you pass down these things to people who are watching you. That is why when you are a father and you are very aggressive, they tend to become you.
Sure.
They're going to repeat this thing that you are doing.
Sure.
And I think you can only give what you have. If you know how to love, you can love. But if you don't know how to love, because you'll give what you have.
Do you know, I hear Saitila Balunga. I want to get to you Greg. I understand. The time, we understand that the type of damage or the impact I really more pelomba how kacheko or otokofala or wezimola saleka senya or nano ira fela lena asabon. Okay, fine, I got yours, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Did he understand the damage I created? Or?
Sadly, I don't think so. I don't think people who are abusive by nature understand what they're doing.
Sure.
Like Balunga is saying, it will take somebody who wanted to see your eye, man. You guys, so I think especially men who tend to be abusive. Remember, you are always abusive to people close to you.
Yeah.
The ones that So these are the people you're supposed to be loving. And half the time you love them. And you are soft with them. You buy them gifts. And then half the time
yeah, sure.
So somehow society has learned to balance. It is what we have. And we accept. That is why you find women who would say, You know that story.
Yeah.
Mentality.
Yeah.
Na monna sampeteng anu dripanyana fela ha waninyana. Wa bora.
Yeah.
Because aggression e bontsha o kare ya.
Wa care ke nthola hore ke nyaka go protect lapa. And sometimes it's not true. But I want to get to Balunga, you say you've forgiven him. And because you understand in the process, okay? And it's because number one, you understand. Ne? And the fact that maybe he doesn't know what he was going through. Horo wa mo forgiver. No mo forgiver because no re ere nna ke phele ka peace or ere di time a phele ka peace ke tsomo yena a tsomo nna. Was it a question ya who to protect wena or protect yena?
I would say both, but the only issue now is I honestly don't know how to go to him to say I forgive you because
so also motse le ka tshekora ke go tshwaretse.
O itsirele sharp vela re sharp.
Okay?
O itsirele sharp mara immediately now he go fitla mona ke re go tshwaretse to re ka eng because he's lost.
A itse le
Tse
yena.
ba neng ke mo tlhalosetsa. And ke ra bona tlhalosetsa motho something se leng hore o mo tlhalosetsa calculus e le hore a itse le hore mathematics ke eng. Ka ba tlhalosa calculus hore a re bana mathematics he doesn't even know.
No,
So
sure.
imagine now I would have to start there.
Sure.
So pila for night was something se le hore I felt or I need peace.
Sure.
Thoma peace because
For wena.
a lot of gents azanna ba kopana le bo papa bo.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking,
Yeah.
Fortunately, now we know them.
Yes.
But some of them, we are asking, have you forgiven him? I'll go forgive them, man, because I don't
Yeah,
even know.
yeah, yeah. It's similar to my story. I would say if you say to me, "Have you forgiven your father?" Ke forgive abia mo toksa meeting. I've not met this guy. Ke tla mo kwatela bjang to start with because I give muitsi. You know. So I know that most of us we go through that. But Greg, in the process, ho e bona flopo ko tla tleng wa re e mare di timer ona le flopo. Hona le mo kileng wa zama nyana hore ere maybe ke suteletse di timer. As o hudisa ke o.
Yeah.
So le wa ya go o wa re ere ke zama sutelisa o gore ke build the relationship le yena.
No, all was gone. All nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the biological father was never.
Oh, okay.
But coming back to what Balunga was saying now, you see, taba ya gore o tshaba gore mo go yena go forgiving. It's a problem for me because era gore this is unfinished business. It's pending. You know when you have a wound. Everything where it's all late and mara hona le phatinyana e ngwe be ana nyane go ka tshela le tsoida.
Mar Greg has thing o e reng tabe.
But okay, so this is where that is why you need to confront it. Not kanto, but I believe one day holy monad you arrange a meeting and say let's talk. Do you know that growing up it was difficult for me? I just wanted to listen my point of view.
Sure.
There were times when I missed you. There were times when I wished you were here. And you pour your heart out. And then tell him what I was angry at you. I didn't even want to see you. I didn't even want to see you.
Yes.
So, but eventually I got matured and I've released you from my anger. And I forgive you because I love you. And I think once you do it that way, he'll never ask you forgive you for what? Because
you mean sometimes abaiti because they don't know. And maybe ho tla pila man to man o setse hudile o bolela le yena ke mother e mfanaka mara ne ke sa itse re pila mo ntwe ke etsang ke flopo because like Balunga says ba bang ba bona ba hola ba sa itse dilo tse ba di etsang tse ke di flopo. Yeah, no very much, but let's then talk about wa itse mo hai re na lo swenkelana ne re le dintwana re le bafana re ntse re jika motho a bolela ka papa hai o monga re ne le birthday ya ka ne re na le Father's Day. Did you ever have the Father's Day or the birthday? And maybe let me start with you, Balunga. Did you ever spend time le papa how re lebeletse hore at least one birthday a le teng in your life? Did it ever happen? Yes or no?
I think Rena maybe sorry about that. Hormo location in. Di taba tsa di Father's Day le di wata re thobo di kra na.
No.
Okay.
taba tsa di-Father's Day, lady birthday, ne ba rekela cake ya ko Beleme, and then ke party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ele ya di-bolo,
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
ba tshwere ka cake,
Sure.
ra opela, that's it. Now ke mo bonang hore ho na le di-party, ho na le
Yeah,
di-fest. Now
yeah.
that's when ke nyaka ho bona papaka. Now ne le a norm hore batho ba hola ba sena bo papa.
Yeah.
So it's only maybe 1 out of 10 who would say, yeah, papaka.
Loro
But the rest of us, what's
Papa ka atla gaming ya ka ya soccer.
Yeah, I did right. Papa ke mang, you know.
Papa.
Ke mang, you know. Yeah, sure. So you never even had special moments, Greg,
No.
le Papa, however.
No, TK. Ebile man. Ne ke sure ne ke tlo feel weird.
Hale ting a dlala le wena.
Go okay.
O nyakang.
Ore mara papa.
anything.
Yeah, man. No.
No.
I think it's a cultural thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the only special moment I can say. When I got married, I think Kimohilo never communicated more because he's a tailor. So I
Oh.
made my suit.
Okay.
So now I still keep it because
Wow.
I feel like, wow, this is from my father.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Okay,
good.
that's
Yeah.
a good
At least he's there's a memory. And this is what I was just trying to get to. Is there a memory between you and your father? But one more other thing I think I want us to understand is, I know it's painful, Bafwetu. And really mautita ba tsebe ana angere di bolela. And here ke re di bolela ke ra hore angere intsha ntwe gore tseng a ke sharp di dingwe di time ang ke rileng yona my father leaving me re sa le dintwana I sharp. Do you grieve? Do you ulela ko mang? Greg, have you ever cried to someone outside of us here? Who have you cried to, and how do you grieve?
TK, remember I said my biological father died when I was very young.
Sure.
So you hodile ke bona di photo fela.
So those memories di sa atla though.
Yes, because that really troubled me.
Sure.
Because the question was always, if only he was here. Now you have this question when things are not going so well. And yeah, when things are not going well, how you start to have these questions.
Did you ever blame yourself though, Greg?
Yes.
Maybe
Yes, maybe there's something wrong with me.
Ish.
And sadly, there is a burden.
Yeah.
When parents are not doing things right, you know, there's many books about this topic. Hore bana ba di blame for the divorced batswadi, for absent parents, bana ba di blame. And that is the effect, the very negative effect that this kind of behavior has, Mobani.
So what to say, I mean, Greg, it can't be easy.
Sure.
I mean, probably I'm just saying to anybody who's watching this now, he's probably saying, I'm going through what Greg is going through or has gone through. How did you find yourself?
Yeah, now, like I said, Kumatomong, I was very fortunate to belong to a church.
Sure.
And a church is a community. A village. You find a church becomes your village. And in there you find fathers who will take interest more in, who will, you know, potential, and they will just guide you.
Sure.
And I can proudly say to you today, TK, or na I miss a father figure in my life. I'm surrounded by fathers who molded me, and I am what I am today because of their contribution. Very positive.
Like we all here, absent fathers. Ne?
Yeah.
Whether or aska, are you being the father that your father was never to your son? Or for others, are you saying, I want to be the difference? Or you still see the elements how in you? And just be honest, maybe if they are, but just tell us, hey, I think I'm behaving like this man, mola. Could they?
I think so. What I've realized, even though my son is 3 years old, but communicate and sometimes this is a communication of an absent father.
Ish. Yeah.
Now the other thing is and all these things is that some of these things, because you are holding on to it,
Sure.
either you are going to overdo it, or you are not going to do it. So either you are going to because now overdo what your father did. Because I see with my son, he's 3 years old now, which is something obviously that I did because of absence.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't see that overdose.
Sure.
So
o compensate for sure.
Overdose. So now I want to overdose, but fortunately, at least now, because I can see, because I feel horror. The minute you realize horror,
yeah.
Yes.
If you don't do anything about it, then go ahead.
Sure.
If you know horror and you don't go to the doctor,
You are the problem.
you are the problem because go tell about clear.
True.
Sure.
So which is what I'm starting to realize, Balunga, you have a problem.
Sure.
This is the problem. Now, if you don't do anything about it, you're going to affect yourself.
Sure.
Because you are now the problem.
Yeah. Greg, what would you say to the same question?
Balunga. That's very powerful. TK, there is no book on how to raise children.
Sure.
And sadly,
Sure.
there's a very popular phrase, and they mean, and I think because we can only raise these young ones based on the way it's safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
My safe is not your safe. You know? So for me, ke try to adopt personality when it comes to parenting. And I always go back to say, hey, I'm being too
strict. Yeah.
Because I gotta lose a relationship with them. And then I'll always fix myself. And you are right. You must identify, you must assess yourself. And see what, hey,
Sure.
Something via mama.
Yeah.
Then you don't have a relationship with them.
Yeah.
So I've seen it many times. And then my wife the other day told me, when I spoiler. I didn't even know. I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
You know, and I evaluate myself. Yo, TK, because I think we already posted our banabaka batlaile. Henga tokofala nalumsadi bapallo go hudisa kwena o pallo go batsia bana.
Yeah, sure.
You know, because ba spoil di batella. I want to be able to raise bana ba ileng hore ba balanced. You know. So I tried. Okay.
So na ke itse topic e re tshwereng fanda ga ba futu. Ke taba ileng hore bafana ba baya, or maybe even girls as well.
Yes.
You know, it's not just only on boys.
Yeah.
Le bana ba banyana le bona ba feel neglected by their fathers. And motho wa iputsa hore mara ke tlo mo forgive bya. When you've got your own antidote when we really bya. But maybe let's talk to someone who's probably watching this thing for the very first time and saying na dimana nga se mo forgive. I could have been someone better in society if the time and thing. How would you advise anyone who's going through what we three of us went through? Maybe let me start with Balunga. Sure.
I think maybe what's selected from the beginning, and all of that, is to say to yourself, you are looking at that person. All that hatred is directed. All that hatred is directed, it's on my way. So which means that you are hating yourself, you are hating. So try and release yourself. How can you release? Then you'll be able to say it again. How about me?
Sure.
And like you're saying, it's unfortunate.
But forgiveness is easy.
It's not easy. In the process of. Because at least I'm a metaphor. At least the doctor for antibiotics for 3 days.
Sure.
And it's going to work.
Sure. Sure.
Now we are dealing with something that you can't touch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you might think you're forgiven if it's a kopanele no kwa.
O kwate. Yeah. Di tswetsela no di beile tsela no di fitlhile.
Yeah. No kopanele na are wetse go hudisitse kwato you're
yeah. Sampotsa. Wa nkitsweno. Wa itse ke gore ke be mo ke mang wena no staying wena. So Greg, let's talk about that young person. O kwatetseng mo mthaima. Are mari di time na stay. What would you say to them?
All right. So here's a question, TK, to answer that. What do you think the condition to forgive is, gents?
The condition to forgive?
Yeah, to forgive someone.
But it's firstly to understand. I would say that.
Okay.
I would say, firstly, kinyako understanda, kinyako ang understande, kinyako mo understanda.
Sharp.
Lehe lor tabatsai kimushi, mara kinyako dutwisisa. But the second part is communication. Like you said, are nefatse rebolele. Kiska asuma. Hore ka re ko bona ona le family engwe o le kwale. Ko re na o rate. You never know. Nafatse le motho re boledisana. I think that's the first thing. Let's just talk. And that's the one thing that I think as Maoti we suffer from. The inability to speak about how we truly feel inside. That's me. Sure.
Perfect.
And I scared the world is saying men shouldn't feel.
Yeah.
Osa fila monne
Monna ke nku.
yeah monna ke nku lela ka mohare ke khadile maloba mo ke re ke botsa my 3-year-old ke no you are a boy so you can't ka go re mmotsa hore o se ke be go walla mo phelo ma go which is ke ka mkhona ba re hodise
Ba re hodisitse bjang?
so no hona nung hello tsa how di sa tsamela pila you can't tell anybody you can't cry in front of anybody because ba boditse re jo we in must.
Yeah.
And that's the sad reality.
Yeah, so let's say for instance issue in daughter must a lot of people ba hole ba sna bo papa. How are they bo papa going to explain it?
Good one.
10 years later. Turns out no na le hashtag bo in daughter must so I couldn't be a father to you because he get like ko re ke tsa go Mr. Price mama har this is not enough in daughter must.
Yeah.
Tsanzo re ke tsa Nike ka tshele ke reka.
Yeah.
Then I became an absent father. O tlo mo khola ha 20 years later.
But I think maybe people lost the connotation ya hore herere ndota monna halle e ra o reng ntwe. And this is maybe something that we need to talk about in the future.
Yes.
Hore it was not coming from a bad side ya hore o ska bolela selong ro se fila. I think ne le ntwe la hore tia toughen up. The world is not easy and no one is coming here to help you, but monna wa matepe la lebelle malapateng hanni a be strong. So I think it comes from there, but what paletse go itlhalosa Greg ya hore herere o ska la re ra o reng
By quote out of
context. Yeah. Kore le selo se o imela ke o lelang monna didimala. You know, mara au tlhaloso he ke didimala ke ra o reng a ke re didimala ka lotso tsotlhe. You know, but I think we missed that part. But part e nna leng hape ke nyako itseng Greg is who forgive a motho. Ke ntwe motho I'm just thinking. Ke ntwe motho ga etsang ka letsatsi. Can you just wake up and say what's again di time o re le ke mo tshwaretse ke sharp o sharp mabane o nreketse Nike or o mbaetse whatever therefore nna le na re sharp. Is there something like you can do like that?
Okay, so you can't actually. Back to that question, Elani Genagui would say this young person.
Yeah.
What are the conditions to forgive? So I would say to this young person,
Sure.
the conditions to forgive your father are non-existent. There's no conditions. You don't forgive him because you can.
So it's a must.
Guri, you are not into right or forgive. He doesn't have to ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to show remorse. Some fathers, they will continue to beat you up. Ne, why we
Sure.
You must still forgive them. So they will never change. When Allah changing. I repeat the same thing. Ne? So you forgive them not because you believe they're going to change, but you forgive them because you understand how you must set them free. So there
Is it for you or for him?
Now
Greg?
this is for you. Because forgiveness, remember what he said, forgiveness benefits the forgiver more than the perpetrator. So if you're holding a grudge, you are killing yourself. So you need to release them. Forgive. And then forgiving doesn't mean you open the boundaries.
Yeah.
Set your boundaries, but tell him, sharp, we can talk. Mara, there are boundaries. If there's someone who comes to you, akopela chelete, abolela maga, wa mufa, and then ubutsa maga, you set the boundaries. You forgive him, hausa mufa chelete. You know, so forgiveness for me is the beginning of a healthy relationship.
So it starts somewhere.
You must never have conditions that will forgive her, change. What happens if I change? What happens if my mother, let's say my mother is an alcoholic, and then it destroy a family. Papa so are you saying I must not forgive her just because
Mara babang Greg, hence re ba pepetletsa re bontsha o ka re ra utlwisisa too much. Ba iteseletsa man. Ba bang ba ke taba tsa re motlhomong go mmotsa re bona mone nna go ka se tlwele mekgwa ya gago a ke sa o etela motlhomong o na gore o tla ipopanyana a boa. You know, so like any other child, if you do this, you get this. You do this, you get this. You know, but we think really our parents approach her that way. But maybe let's get to that thing process.
Yes.
We spoke. I just asked you a question here. Is this a process? Is it something se starta somewhere, or is it something I can do over in a day?
I think it's a process because because reality is in the absent and then oto solosa tsela ni di robetse ore a entle bila demand beana o tla monna to bribe ka di Nike ka dilo tse nice have it he disappears. So it's a process. You need to build a relationship, and if you want to have a healthy relationship with somebody, you need
but it's also a two-way street.
This is where it's very tricky. This is where it's very tricky because when I forgive my
must be
I don't care what he's going to do with my forgiveness.
Okay.
Anymore.
Okay.
Now I forgive him.
I'm
done.
Okay.
Whatever he does, Kayona, it's keke part there high. Now I played my part. I released him. Baba believer more supernatural forces. They will tell you, Hore, you can hold somebody to a promise.
Yeah.
And until I hear and thing, I won't release. Baba is in black magic.
Yeah.
And then up until please release me. I release you.
Yeah. Sure.
So forgiveness is like that. It's not I believe, forgive and move. Because this poison is killing you.
Sure.
This person,
yeah. Or ba mo hopotsa go strateng or Jo na re kopanle ntwana ga go kae kana ke na le mfana yeah kana go o jabana o mnate dilo tsa di shapo o lebetse Balunga, the same question to you. Is this a process, or is it something that I can start today and achieve vandag? And this is what probably talking to someone who is going through what we're talking about today.
It's a process. I like what you said. There's no conditions. So ona no whole level let's show ya rena the conditions out of There's no conditions.
No conditions.
Sure.
This person will come forgive. No makancha. It's not going to be easy. Chances are Okamo forgiver only 98 on your deathbed.
Yeah.
Because what we are talking about, what you said, what if Mama how cannot to be because now Naviala come want to what if Utumlo Naviala because no one raping? Are you going to we're not certain about her only. She can't tell you, but I got raped by 6 men. How about the
trauma for you?
So when I'm able to wait again, I kill over the conditions. You made someone come call. Hold let's say show you now.
Yeah.
Think, okay, this is my father. I have to forgive him.
Sure.
His forgiveness is my forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because you have to forgive yourself.
Exactly.
Because like you asked earlier on, did you ever blame yourself? Obviously you blame yourself. So immediately hold the blame or blame, you put yourself in one bubble. So if you don't forgive anyone, you don't forgive yourself. And then you become an overdoer. wa ba totoza because of askere batswadi ba that's what they say now
Sure.
Bana ba matsatsi ana he ba ngisiwa wa tota it's because nere bethiwa re ne go betha bana ba rena
Na re nya go be.
bana ba mkhona re trap
Yeah, but I fully agree with you, gentlemen. Hore, wa itse re batho diphoso le rena self re tlo di etsa
Botlhoko.
le for ona basadi ba re ba nyetseng le for bana ba rena re tlo di etsa, and we expect to be forgiven.
Yes.
And how do you want to forgive someone if lo ena we to forgive anybody? So it starts somewhere, but it starts with you. And maybe let's just get my last question would be, assuming this man is watching, or one day he meets up with this clip somewhere, what would you want to say to him? You've always wanted to say, assuming he's here listening. Greg.
Right, so for me, it will be Kabelo Chabalala. God, I would encourage him. Or Kabelo Chabalala Kabelo Chabalala. You know why? Let me play the devil's advocate. Heba luile. Banna 2 weeks ba sa boledi sana eskhala wa o da tshwere dilonyana a tlo phuphuta. So he knows.
Yeah, na ntse itse why
itse ho re ile le lo re maybe he na ira. Angela reads the devil that lives inside batho. Na go ngwe there's this rage. Mo bathong a ritse tswa kae. Motho wa teng ha ka thoma hele ka thoma la ngapana. E ba ntwa o topa ba re ba bang ba go ba batho ka di plate. Ka re ba ra bolena bana. Ba go senya. Ba go ba batho ka di plate. So we don't know why ba ira ba. A ritse ro ba ithutile yona kae. So I would say go and please ask for forgiveness.
And from your mother.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And I think I would
Balunga?
go back to what I said earlier on. I understand.
You understand.
Yeah, first time. Whatever you were good. Chances are, why is I now you think he come on nahana ke nahana or high 2 minutes and alowan. He's like ish bophelo ba kana bo se sharp. And unfortunately I couldn't wake up in time for ke sa ira bophelo ba bana ba ka bo be sharp.
Yes, sir.
So at that point he's in a loop of guiltness ya hore Papa can't get it, so get it, so it's too late. I can't do anything about it. So if someone like myself were to say, you understand what you went through.
Sure.
And what you went through came to me, and you never went to the doctor.
Sure.
Now I'm going to the doctor. And
Yes.
now maybe maybe he would feel all right again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
sure.
TK, to the fathers out there, don't fail. Try.
Sure.
We are going to make mistakes, but we must try. And like Balunga said, let's assess ourselves. Check if what you are doing is effective.
Sure.
And check mara in 10 years time. How will
Yeah.
Because there's a very important question to ask.
Because how
will So I don't get a good reference from Banabak.
Sure.
So as fathers, please,
you don't want them to be coming to shows like these ones
and talking about
and talking about you.
No.
Sure.
About hashtag hashtag.
Boto.
12 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
So since I never let her my father.
Yeah. Hashtag my dad.
My father.
Go.
Hashtag.
So we can do it as fathers, TK.
Sure.
We can definitely do it. And let us not allow poverty to stand in the way.
And it's not an excuse, of course.
It must never stand in the way. When things try.
Sure.
Be the father even when things are not okay.
Sure. Sometimes it's the presence, just to be there sometimes, But we've put money to it, just to say we want to be good fathers. But
useless.
But gentlemen, thank you so much, and to the viewers out there, please subscribe, like our podcast. It's really quite a pleasure. Each time we see you guys watching us, we really appreciate it. We shoot this thing here at Basement Momareka Street. And next time, please do come and join. It's open for everyone to come in and join in, and the audience is also allowed to actually weigh in on this one. But hi, it's been great, guys, and I'm glad that we can say, as 3 guys, we've forgiven our fathers.
Yes.
Thank you so much, guys. It was a beautiful one, gentlemen. Re a leboga. But for now, I'm just going to take 2 questions from the audience. Like we said, we are shooting more Basement, and there's always people who are kind enough to always join us when we shoot this podcast of ours. But let me take the 2 questions coming from the audience. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to say to my father, even though you don't have, I like you the way you are. I love you the way you are. It doesn't mean if you don't have, you are a useless father. As long as you are there for me, I'm there for you. That into yeah, like it counts. Like re about our parents, and then why back how hard. And sometimes we use that thing for hate our fathers. Now I love my father, even though Hana anything, any income, anything. And I'm always there for my father. Whenever he calls, I'm there. Whenever he needs something, I'm there.
Wow.
Whenever he needs a medical what I'm there.
Sure.
Because he's my father. Because ke papa I need money, maintenance, I was not there.
Sure.
I was not there. So now for papa I need to say I love you the way you are. And I will respect at least I know yes. I know papa yes. And I know where I can count on.
Sure. Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Sure.
Topically today it's very deep.
Sure.
Now when it comes to my father personally, I'm in the process of forgiving and everything. So, I'm married to a man caring. Long story short,
Sure.
Then he doesn't know the story of what happened to the mother. So to a point there the female figure, more family. I'm raising 4 boys, and my concern is the dynamics of family. Healer from
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
So it's like it's really deep for me, like
Sure.
because in an environment papa important. Yet what happened back then. Mama just packed and left. He was 2 years old when Mama packed and left. Papa died when he was 11. So he had to fend
For himself.
Yeah, for himself. So as a boy child, you have to fend for yourself.
Sure.
And obviously, so like it's a problem.
Sure.
So my question is, like, how do we build the foundation because
I think Greg I will on mediator. Mediator because for naked if it's difficult to look because let's say for instance Motagon cheated. But you can't look at the reasons, not to say who only reason or not cheat. But her relationship one of us has to cheat. If you can't put yourself what I was doing 120. I'm not saying I was doing 120, so I cheat. No, but this is what I was doing. Her relationship so mediate in a sense when I know we put okay in this relationship really for me, my husband. Can I get out and try and see what is my part? Okay, this is my part.
Sure.
Baby, can you get out and see what is your part? How can we fix these parts?
Sure.
Without pointing fingers.
Yes.
So this is what you're doing, this is what's happening to us.
Yeah.
How do we now help each other ka what's happening to us. Because no matter come Kobelelane, Rikofa, bana the same.
Yeah, faith.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
We pass it down.
Sure.
I also
Greg?
think as black people, this thing here haba counseling is a problem, especially banna. Him me akare ki la appointment go family in let's go. Arenya go ya. And I think we must get to a point where we are saying if a family is a very important structure, we must invest muson.
Sure.
Go attend the family counselings, na le mosadi, na le bana bana noshi, so that if there are underlying issues come family,
Sure.
the facilitators they were going to uproot, already solve. I think the first step you identified, like you said, we identify there's a problem.
Sure.
And for some reason, you were able to see what the root cause is. And I think this family is so fortunate that one of the members of our family can see, can even trace back, or this is where the problem started.
Sure.
So I think you're on the right track. Find help. Next time, I think we must have the line, it's the counseling.
Sure.
But if family, there's many organizations, Baba Idam for free. We must share it on the screen, and then so that people can use those.
Sure.
The funny part about us as black people, Ratsaba hoya go di psychologist mara a remind ho botsa dingaka mathata re. Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah, it is.
O ga re wa itse ba ka tseya dingaka tsa na tsotlhe ba re ho ile thwasa so mara o ye 3 years o kre
Counseling complication.
Yeah, counseling.
Hore motho a tla ka mathata o mmetse ka counseling.
You know?
Because I feel it's the same thing. O ya ko motho o leng hore
And it's not like all the time.
no. Sometimes the show sometimes ngaka ile no botsa jo wena pila o treat mosadi ya o sha.
Yeah, finish. Finish.
Eno metse o treat mosadi ya o sha.
Baby, over right.
Ka letswa ile fetsa mara
Motho mo sa pila. Eno ta bona dilo tsa di tlo ba sharp.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the thing about us black people. We
Sure.
don't mind going to
Sure.
But go to a psychologist.
Yeah, sure. But I think to our viewers out there, the issue is not about us having all the answers. I think what we're trying to do, like we said, we're trying to find a common ground. And also let's just learn how to talk about it. But like I said, subscribe and like and share this clips that you see all the time on Common Ground. Thank you so much and good evening.